Hey there, Algebra 2. In this short video, I want to talk to you about what's called function notation. And this is really important for you to know moving forward in your algebra careers. And as many of you go off to be engineers and what else, you're going to see a whole different way of writing functions. So in the past, you saw an equation like y equals 3x minus 7, or another equation might be y equals x squared plus 2x plus 1, or another one might be y equals 3,000 times the quantity 0.5 raised to the x power. Well, simply in function notation, you take away the y and you put in, it didn't work, try that again, and you put in these letters. So again, any letter can represent a function. So this is, you would say this as f of x is equal to the function, right, with the input of x. So this means what you're going to input, 3x minus 7. This one down here, g of x, that's how you say it, is x squared plus 2x plus 1. H of x equals 3,000 times the quantity 0.5 to the x. So in this form, function notation, how you evaluate these functions is, let's say x equals 2. Well, simply, that means this 2 is your input, okay? So you would evaluate this for f of 2, and then simply equals 3 times 2 minus 7. So f of 2 equals 3 times 2 is 6, minus 7 is negative 1. G of x, or g of 2, now if you're going to substitute 2 and evaluate, I think you get the idea here, right? You're plugging this value in, this value 2 or whatnot, into your function and evaluating for that. Again, we used to call that y, but no more. So again, let's go ahead and do it. 2 squared plus 2 times 2, that was a little confusing, plus 1. 2 squared is 4, plus 4 is 8, that should be 9. G of 2 equals 9. And last but not least, down here, if you want to evaluate h of x, where x is 2, just do it down here. We'll do 3,000 0.5 raised to the second power. Now some of you may say, well, wait a minute, 0.5 raised to the second power, we're not quite there yet, but that's okay, I know you can handle it. 3,000 times 1/2 times 1/2. And you're like, oh, a half, right, and a half, so that's a quarter. So this is really a quarter of 3,000, right? Divided by 4, and you'd say that's just oh, wait a minute, Mr. Rising, that's only 750. You're right, it is that easy. It's nothing to worry about. So this is function notation. The other thing that you need to be aware of is the rules about functions. Now, we're going to spend a lot of time on functions, but what makes a function? Well, what makes a function? The vertical line test. So if you have the graph, you don't have the equation itself, but if you have a graph like this, right, you say, oh, hey, right, here's a graph of a function. If you can put a vertical line through it anywhere and only touch one point, that makes it a function. If you have something like this, and it looks like this, when I put a line here, I'm touching it 2 places here and here. So this is not a function. This is a function. Yes! Functions! Okay? So then that's a function. And that's what this rule number 2 means. Really what we're saying, the vertical line test says for any input, there's exactly one output. X is your input. Y, the result of the process of putting it through a function, y is the output. So here, domain, these are the x's that you put through your function. So the domain is the set of all possible inputs. The y's are the outputs, all the possible outputs from the inputs. That's your range. So that's really all I want to do in this video. I just want to kind of reintroduce domain and range and what's a function. And if you haven't seen function notation before, you should recognize it by now.